Good morning, everyone. This is Black Forest coming to you with another market analysis video. This morning, we're going to be looking at the AUD okay? But before we start to break down this Forex pair, we have to state that this video is for educational purposes only. This is not for financial advice, okay? But we all know why you guys are here. You want to find good, credible Forex content that can help improve your ability as a trader and to help put a little bit of extra money in your pocket, especially in these troubling times, okay? Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and break down this Forex pair, all right? Now, we did have some not so good news. Let's talk about the AUD first. We did have some not good so news for the AUD at the latter part of the trading week, but that not so good news does not negate its inherited strength it's had over the past several trading weeks. Okay. So it is still remain one of our stronger currencies heading into this trading week, but we're just going to have to see how that not so good news affects the currency for the initial trading, for the initial beginning part of this trading week, especially going into this New York session this morning. Okay. Then also what we're going to have to see is what's going to happen with the USD as well, because the USD did the American government did increase the interest rate from 25% to 50%. So we're going to have to see how this increase in interest rate is actually going to combat the inflation that's being suffered by the American economy. Okay. Now, one of two possibilities could happen that could make the USD still remain weak. If the increase in the interest rate does not um, combat inflation fast enough, then the USD will start performing as weak. Okay. Or if the increase in the interest rate is not enough economic policy to actually combat the inflation. Okay. If we need more economic policy outside of the increase in the interest rate, then we're also going to see USD start performing as weak as well. Okay. But for the most part, at the beginning part of this week, until we start to get some economic news coming out and seeing what they're going to be saying about how it's actually affecting the economy, the USD is probably going to show some initial strength in this latter part. In this beginning part of this trading week. Okay. So with that being said, what we're going to see most likely is, as we're starting to see now, a drop in price. We could go as low as here, this area here, or even as low as this area here before we start to see price turnover. Okay. Now, if we start to see it going here or here and here, then bouncing back up, then that's a good sign we're still for the long term going to be heading in a long position, okay? But if we start to see price very aggressively going down, we start to see price going past this area here, like actually breaking through this market structure here, pathetic push up and going down, then it's going to be pretty much safe to say that price has turned over. Okay. But in a situation like this, we are dealing with a currency that is strong versus weak, with the AUD actually being a stronger currency than the USD for the long term. But for right now, due to the USD having the increase in interest rate, right, and the AUD did have that not so good news come out, we are going to see an initial drop in price, okay? But it does not mean for the long term it's going to happen. Only way we will see that for the long term is if the USD inflation, the USD increase in interest rate is actually combat the inflation very efficiently, while we also have very poor economic news coming out for the AUD. Okay, because all these things are a possibility. Okay, so but for right now, the beginning part of this trading week, we are going to have a drop in price to about this area here. But if we start to go past this area here, we're going to have to stop looking at this from a initial long-term long position. So now we're going to have to start looking to a long-term short position. Okay, but we are going to have a drop down in price for the beginning part of this trading week, and sometimes these retracements can actually take majority of the trading week or all trading week. So we're going to have to see. So I caution you, just don't continue to press buy, 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 buy. Okay. If you want to wait for the fundamentals to kick in, for the long-term fundamentals to kick in on this, you see what I'm saying? Then you're going to be waiting for some time. Okay. But if you want to go ahead and, place the shorts because that's what's actually happening today and you want to make some money, then that'll also be okay as well. But you have to remember, once you start to get to this area here, once you start to get to this area here, or around this area here, you may see a very aggressive push up as we've seen here. Okay, so you don't want to get caught in the trade once it starts to get to these areas and start looking like it's going back into the long-term fundamental position. Okay, so you got to trade smart and trade cautiously, understanding the areas where that the trade can start getting a little rocky on you. Okay, well, for the beginning part of this trading week, we do look like we're going to have an initial drop in price, but we're going to have to see how it plays out and see whether that carries through to the latter part of this trading week going into the next week, or we may just have the initial drop of price happening at the beginning of this trading week, while towards the mid or latter part of the trading week we snap right back into our fundamental long-term long position. Okay. Hope that information was helpful for you guys. Happy trading.